Erika Kirk was introduced to Charlie Kirk through Donald Trump. She had been procured for like Donald Trump's pageants. She won like Miss Arizona or something. She was literally a registered actress and starred in a reality TV show, a romance one at that. He met her on a trip to Israel. Charlie met her on one of these wall humping trips.
Private wedding footage of Charlie and Erika Kirk has just surfaced, and allegedly, it was Charlie's own sister Mary who leaked it. The second this footage hit the internet, people lost it. Fans, behavioral analysts, and body language experts started breaking down every single frame like it was courtroom evidence. And what they say they found? Chilling doesn't even scratch the surface. According to everyone who went through that footage closely, Charlie Kirk did not look like a happy groom. Not even close. He didn't look like a man standing at the altar of the best day of his life. He looked nervous. He looked uncertain. Multiple analysts who reviewed the footage independently say he looked like a man who wasn't fully sure about what he was doing or why he was even there. Now, some people rushed to the obvious explanation. Wedding jitters. Normal, human, completely understandable. Standing in front of a crowd, making a lifelong commitment in front of everyone you know that shakes even the most confident people alive. No one's arguing that. But here's where things get messy. Because sources aren't just saying Charlie looked nervous. Sources are saying he looked like a man who had been pushed into that moment allegedly by Erika herself. The claim spreading fast right now is bold. Erika Kirk allegedly forced Charlie's hand into marriage.
Well, I'd never met anyone quite like her. I remember I called Tyler and I said he's gonna have to find talent somewhere else. And whatever opening he thought she would fill, that was not gonna work. And Tyler was trying to coach me down because he said that she was way out of my league. He's still right, by the way.
That's the allegation being made by people who claim real insider knowledge of how this relationship actually played out behind closed doors. And once you start looking at who Erika Kirk really is, not the version she showed publicly, but the real version, that allegation starts feeling a whole lot less crazy. People are also pointing to something more surface level, but still eyebrow-raising. Close sources claim her heavy makeup that day didn't sit well with Charlie, and that her wedding dress didn't match the conservative bridal style Charlie was known to publicly admire and push. Small details on their own, but stacked on top of everything else being alleged, they start building a very specific picture of a relationship that may never have been what it looked like from the outside. Here's the context that makes all of this hit differently. Erika Kirk is 5 years older than Charlie. She married him already in her 30s. She had children in her 30s. She holds at least 2 university degrees, one from Arizona State University and one from Liberty University. And at the time of his passing, she was reportedly working toward a doctorate on top of all that. Then, almost immediately after Charlie's passing, she stepped into the CEO role at Turning Point USA, a position she had never held, a position that wasn't hers until he was gone. Now hold that right there and place it directly next to what Charlie Kirk preached out loud for years. He was one of the loudest voices in conservative media, pushing the idea that women should put marriage and motherhood above everything else. He repeatedly argued women should marry young before 30, and that college for women was basically just a path to finding a husband, what he publicly called a MRS degree. Charlie Kirk spent years loudly promoting the idea of the traditional wife, a woman whose whole identity was rooted in the home, raising children, and supporting her husband's vision rather than building her own. But then look at Erika. Degrees, a career, a CEO title, children after 30, a life built entirely around her own ambitions and her own identity. Erika Kirk wasn't just slightly different from Charlie's publicly stated ideal. She was the direct opposite of it in almost every measurable way. She contradicted his messaging completely. And somehow, she ended up as his wife. Before she ever crossed paths with Charlie, Erika was already a woman fully in motion. She had her real estate license and was working with the prestigious Corcoran Group, one of the most recognized names in the industry. She was deep into charity work that took her across the world, putting her in rooms with powerful, well-connected people. She reportedly ran her own clothing brand and maintained close professional ties with modeling agencies, including Next Model, a major player in the game. And it doesn't stop there. On the 23rd of November, 2011, Erika won the title of Miss Arizona, earning her spot at the Miss USA pageant in 2012. She wasn't some small-town beauty queen doing local competitions. She was competing at the national level. walking major runways, appearing on television, and even showing up in CIA documentaries, actual government-produced content covering serious national security topics like power grid vulnerabilities and EMP threats. This is not the resume of a woman quietly waiting to become someone's housewife. Her mother, Lori Fransby, adds a whole other layer to this story. Lori had deep, documented ties to military contractors going back years, connections to major defense companies like Raytheon, and a portfolio of multiple LLCs she operated herself. She wasn't a background figure. She was a driven, career-focused woman who built her own professional world. And according to people who know Erika well, Lori was her primary role model growing up. The woman who shaped Erika's entire worldview was herself a powerhouse of ambition. That doesn't produce a traditional housewife that produces exactly the kind of driven, career-first woman Erika clearly became. So now the question burning across every corner of the internet is this: how did a man who so loudly declared that career women weren't his ideal end up allegedly proposing to Erika Kirk on the very first day he ever met her in person? Because that is allegedly what went down. What was supposed to be a simple interview, Erika coming in to meet Charlie professionally, reportedly turned into a proposal before she even walked back out the door. And here's where the matchmaking story gets really interesting. According to sources, months before that meeting ever happened, Tyler Boyer had been working on Charlie behind the scenes, consistently talking up Erika's accomplishments, planting seeds, and building her reputation in Charlie's mind before they ever sat in the same room. But it allegedly went further than just talking her up. According to reports, Tyler Boyer used a very specific psychological tactic on Charlie. Tyler Boyer allegedly framed Erika as a challenge, reportedly telling Charlie that she was, as sources describe it, way out of his league. And for a man with Charlie Kirk's ego and competitive nature, that kind of framing wasn't a warning. It was an invitation. But wait, because before Tyler Boyer ever entered this picture as the so-called matchmaker, sources claim that Erika and her mother, Lori, had already been trying on their own to get into Charlie's orbit. For years, allegedly, they had been seeking opportunities to cross paths with him organically, trying to engineer a natural-feeling meeting that wouldn't raise any flags or look orchestrated. And they couldn't make it happen until Tyler Boyer stepped in and made the connection for them. There's even a specific story Erika told publicly that people are now looking at very differently. She described a moment at an airport where she spotted a man in a ticket line who looked familiar. Her mother reportedly urged her to go introduce herself. She hesitated. She didn't approach him. And then, years later, she allegedly discovered that the man in that airport line was Charlie Kirk himself. She framed it like a romantic near miss, a fateful moment that almost happened, only for destiny to bring them together anyway. It sounds like something straight out of a movie. And that is exactly the problem. It sounds too cinematic, too perfectly crafted, too convenient to be accidental. People are now asking whether that airport moment was as unplanned as Erika made it sound, or whether it was one of those organic-looking encounters that wasn't actually organic at all. While Charlie was alive, Erika played a very specific role in public. She showed up at his side with minimal makeup, natural hair worn down, simple clothing, what many people online described as the classic clean girl look. Understated, conservative in her presentation. She looked like exactly the kind of woman Charlie Kirk would want next to him on a public stage, modest, composed, traditionally feminine, never overshadowing him or pulling attention away from his brand. But the moment Charlie was gone, the transformation was immediate and dramatic. Erika began showing up to public appearances in what many described as over-the-top styling, heavy makeup, bold jewelry, outfits that a significant portion of observers publicly stated felt deeply out of place for a woman who had just lost her husband. People noticed, and people started asking the obvious question: if this is who Erika actually is, bold, fashion-forward, unapologetically attention-commanding, then who exactly was the woman standing quietly next to Charlie Kirk for all those years? Was that Erika? Or was that a performance carefully maintained for as long as it needed to be? Sources claiming close connections to Charlie's sister Mary are now making very serious allegations, saying that multiple individuals, Erika included, applied significant pressure on Charlie to get married. The claim is that Erika was relentless in her pursuit of a commitment from Charlie. She wasn't waiting. She wasn't being patient. According to these sources, she was pulling every available lever to get Charlie to put a ring on her finger. The alleged tactics reportedly included engineering that so-called coincidental airport moment, working through Tyler Boyer to position herself as a romantic target in Charlie's mind, and then once they were actually dating, applying direct personal pressure to move toward marriage quickly. The reported pressure point? The age gap. Erika is 5 years older than Charlie, and according to sources, she reportedly used the classic line of, "I'm not getting any younger," to push Charlie toward a commitment faster than he may have otherwise been ready for. Serious allegations, and right now, more documentation and sourced evidence is still being gathered. But the public commentary has already reached a fever pitch. And some of what people are saying online is absolutely explosive. One commenter responded directly to Erika's own public statement that nothing is by coincidence, firing back with, "Not coincidence. She was sent to be his handler." Short, direct, and according to the thousands of people who engaged with that comment, deeply resonant with what a large portion of the online community already suspects. Another commenter laid out a theory in striking detail, writing that Erika may have crossed paths with powerful political figures at gatherings connected to Epstein, and was allegedly positioned to get close to Charlie because of the influence he carried, and that once certain people found out Charlie was interested in getting the Epstein files opened, they needed someone on the inside to monitor that. The commenter even noted they guarantee they got married in less than 1 year of him knowing her. That comment racked up massive engagement and sparked its own thread of people either pushing back or adding more details. To support it, whether fact or theory, it represents the kind of question that thousands of real people are actively asking and not quietly. Then there was possibly the most unfiltered take on Erika Kirk circulating so far. That she has always been self-absorbed and attention-seeking, from her pageant days to chasing Charlie Kirk and pretending she didn't know who he was. That comment cuts straight through and reflects a sentiment a significant portion of the online community has been expressing with increasing volume and confidence. What makes all of this land so hard isn't just the individual claims, it's the pattern. A woman who represents everything Charlie publicly said he didn't want, who allegedly spent years engineering a meeting with him, who was reportedly positioned as a personal challenge through a mutual connection, who married him quickly, who maintained a carefully crafted public image for the entirety of their marriage and then immediately transformed that image the moment he was gone. Add to that the allegations around the meeting the night before Charlie was shot, the one where sources claim Erika was in the room with military figures and a congressman, and suddenly the picture stops looking like a complicated love story and starts looking like something else entirely. The ties between Erika's background and the broader Epstein-adjacent world that Charlie was allegedly investigating keeps surfacing with more frequency and more specificity the deeper people dig. The names keep coming up. The organizations keep appearing. The connections keep linking back to the same dark center that Charlie was reportedly trying to expose before everything fell apart. And here is the detail people cannot stop coming back to. Charlie Kirk took off his wedding ring the night of the UVU event. He didn't say goodbye to Erika before he left. A man who did that kind of public speaking regularly chose that specific night to remove his wedding band and walk out without a single word to his wife. Was that a coincidence? Or was it a message, maybe the last one he was ever able to send? The full truth of this situation is still being pieced together, and the people doing that work are not stopping. New evidence keeps surfacing, new sources keep coming forward, new connections keep getting documented, and every single thread that gets pulled seems to lead somewhere that powerful people very clearly do not want the public looking. Think about everything laid out here. A woman whose entire life story contradicted the values her husband preached loudly and publicly. A relationship that allegedly began not through genuine chance, but through years of calculated positioning and a very specific psychological play. A marriage that sources claim Charlie was pushed into faster than he was ready for. A public image that was maintained with near-perfect consistency for years and then dropped completely the moment it no longer needed to be held up. The overnight transformation alone raises questions that have no clean answers. The meeting the night before the shooting, with military figures and a congressman in the room, raises even more. The removed wedding ring. The silent exit. The pattern of connections that keep linking back to the same circles Charlie was allegedly digging into before everything changed. None of it exists in isolation. Every piece connects to another piece. And the more people look, the more the outline of something much larger starts to take shape. People who knew Erika from her pageant days, from her modeling connections, from her real estate circles, have been speaking up. And what they are describing is not the quiet, understated woman who stood beside Charlie Kirk on every public stage. They are describing someone else entirely, someone driven, strategic, and deeply aware of the room she wanted to be in and the people she needed to know. Charlie Kirk spent years building a platform that made him one of the most influential voices in conservative media. He had reach, he had access. And according to the sources now coming forward, he was reportedly getting close to information that certain powerful people wanted kept buried. Whether or not you believe every allegation being made, the questions being raised deserve serious attention because they are not coming from fringe corners of the internet. They are coming from analysts, from people with documented connections to those involved, and from a growing community that is refusing to let this story get quietly shelved. So when you look at everything, the background, the alleged campaign, the transformation, the timing, the connections, what does your gut tell you? Was this a love story that ended in tragedy? Or was Charlie Kirk surrounded from the very beginning by people who were never actually on his side? The conversation is wide open. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This community is putting the pieces together in real time, and your perspective genuinely matters. If this story has you thinking, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe so you never miss what comes next. Because the next episode goes even deeper and you are not going to want to miss it.